Hi, I'm Nick Pearce. I'm the writer and director of The Forgotten City, and in this video I'm going to be answering some questions we commonly get about the game. It's an open-world murder mystery in an ancient Roman city caught in a time loop. It's a standalone reimagining of a mod I made a few years back, which racked up millions of downloads and won a National Writers Guild Award. So the premise is the same as the mod, but absolutely everything else has been leveled up. So players will discover an ancient city in a state of ruin, travel back in time 2,000 years, and try to stop the city from being destroyed. They'll learn about an ancient curse called the Golden Rule, under which if even one person sins, everyone dies. And caught in a time loop, the player will relive that day again and again until they can figure out who's responsible for destroying the city, and hopefully try and stop them. We're aiming to release it in winter 2020. Right now we're focused on making the best possible experience for PC and Xbox One, but if we decide to bring it to other platforms, we'll be announcing it on our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. We think it should take about 8 to 10 hours for most people, for their first playthrough at least, but keep in mind the game has multiple endings and multiple paths to success, so we're hoping that people will want to play it again. We're not sure yet, but we know it'll be priced like an indie game, not a AAA one. Our publisher, Dear Villagers, will be announcing the price and other details in the coming months. Yeah, I think so. It's been designed with people who played the mod in mind, so we've leveled up absolutely everything about the mod. It's been rebuilt from scratch in Unreal Engine. It has a new setting, which is ancient Rome. The story has been rewritten with new twists and endings, and the script is about twice as long. It has new gameplay mechanics, including a mythical golden bow which turns anything organic into gold, and it has all new professional voice acting and a new orchestral score from the composer of Armello. So basically, it's the story I always wanted to tell. The mod was really well received, so in addition to all the downloads and awards, it had been praised by PC Gamer and IGN and Rock Paper Shotgun. So I had a chat with some guys at a local indie studio called League of Geeks, and they asked why I didn't turn it into a standalone game. And at the time I hadn't really thought about it. It just seemed like an impossibly difficult task. But the more I thought about it, the more I got excited, and I thought, well, if I could make the mod with a budget of $0, there's plenty of room to level up all of the production values and make the game into something really special. So it was also an opportunity to tell the story I always wanted to tell. So I did the craziest thing I've ever done and quit my day job, landed a series of grants, and built a studio so that we could make the game. In early 2017, so it's been in development for about 3.5 years now. We have a very small core team of 4 people working on the game full-time, and a bunch of other collaborators, of course. We're working with a very, very knowledgeable historical consultant to make our environment and scripts as historically authentic as possible, and we'll be talking about that more over the coming months. Our favourite parts of the game are all massive spoilers, because there are lots of big twists and turns, but of the stuff that we can talk about, the things we really like are exploiting the time loop. That's a lot of fun. It opens up dialogue options like, blowing the minds of characters by telling them secrets you learn from them in previous time loops, which they don't remember telling you, of course. And you can exploit the time loop to do fun stuff like, avert assassination plots and rig elections and romance people or just play Cupid. And also, the player can get a mythical golden bow, which turns anything organic into gold, which opens up some really cool and unique gameplay mechanics. So, for example, if you find a lake with a layer of algae on top of it, you can turn the algae layer into gold with your bow and just walk across the surface of the lake. Or you can turn an enemy into a golden statue and then boot them into other oncoming enemies and topple them over. It's pretty fun. You'll get to choose your name, sex, and skin color, and roleplay as whatever kind of character you want. Absolutely. So there are 4 endings ranging from tragic to triumphant. And I think it's important to have bad endings in a game because it allows players to fail and raises the stakes of the game and makes their decisions carry weight. I think it also gives players a well-earned sense of pride when they get one of the better endings. It's a narrative-driven game with action elements, so people who like action will find some fun combat sequences, but people who don't like action so much can just talk their way through problems and rely on their wits instead without ever having to pick up a weapon. It's not a horror game in the sense that it's not gory, but it's definitely dark and eerie and atmospheric at times. It also has lots of unexpected twists and turns, some of which can be a little frightening, but I'd say it's just the right amount of scary. It's set in 65 AD during the Roman Empire. It's about a year after the Great Fire of Rome had burnt half of Rome to the ground and Nero was the emperor. So when you arrive in the city, you'll discover its residents live in fear of a mysterious law called the Golden Rule. And the bottom line is that if one person sins, everyone dies. Some characters believe it's an attempt to create utopia, some think it's the work of the gods, and some think it's a myth invented by the city's leader to ensure compliance. But unravelling exactly what the Golden Rule is and who created it and why is a key part of the mystery of the game. Definitely not. So you can kill just about everyone if you really want to, but it's not advisable in a city where if one person sins, everybody dies. There are a few story threads involving romances between characters, where the player can play Cupid. There's also one option for the player to try to romance a character, but mainly as part of a con to try to get a precious object from them by exploiting the time loop they're in. No, that won't be a problem. Fortunately, when you're transported from present day to the 1st century, you'll magically learn Latin, so all of the ancient Romans you meet will sound like they're speaking to you in English, and of course we'll have subtitles in a range of languages, which we're yet to announce. If you're on PC, then Steam's your best bet. So if you wishlist and follow the game on Steam, you'll be notified of news and updates and when the game's released and when it goes on sale. And if you're not on PC, then you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or via our mailing list, which you can reach at our website, modern-storyteller.com. There's no option to pre-order the game at the moment, but we'd love it if you'd wishlist the game on Steam if you're a PC user. We're still figuring out what the minimum requirements will be, but we'll be updating our Steam page once we know for sure. It's a self-contained standalone game, so we're not planning any DLC at this stage. I hope that answered your questions. If not, you can always reach out to us, Modern Storyteller, on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or our website, modern-storyteller.com. Thanks for watching.